welcome back to Final Fantasy III. In the previous episode, I found the Wind Crystal at the Altar Cave, gaining the power of job changing, being tasked with saving this world. I defeated the Djinn at the Sealed Cave, freeing Kazas and Sasune from his curse. Then I went to Canaan, climbing the nearby mountains, finding Desch and joining forces with him, escaping from the dragon Bahamut, landing near the gnomish town of Tozus. I used the mini spell to enter the town, finding a tunnel that led me to the Viking's Cove and the nearby Nepto temple, recovering the Nepto Eye so I could send the Nepto dragon back to its slumber. With the seas being relatively safer now, the Viking boss gives me his last ship, the Enterprise, which will allow me to sail the ocean. So let's get to it. I changed my characters back to regular size, job changing Alex back to warrior and Alan back to monk. Then I sailed to Canaan. I have actually missed 4 chests from Sid's secret stash. They contain a gold needle, a potion, iron arrows, and a phoenix down. I then sail back to the Viking's Cove, shrinking back to small size to go through the tunnel back to Tozus. Shelko's house had items hidden in the bookshelves, those being a mithril bracelet I give to Alvin, a vest, a fire staff capable of casting fire, and a cure spell I give to Alvin. Then finally return to my ship. New enemies I can find at sea include hermits, poisonous attackers that are weak to lightning, a common weakness among sea enemies, killer fish, strong but frail sea enemies, Sahagians, these ones have higher HP, sea elementals, they have the highest accuracy, and Tangis, these ones have a sleep-inducing glare. I sail along the south, finding the town of Tokul. The people here are terrified, running away at first sight. I enter the nearby house. A kid retreats into a fireplace. It leads to a secret room. The mother reveals that this town has been attacked by soldiers of Castle Argus. An old man says that there's a demon to the west that is a giant tree. Another old man says that there's a town to the west of the desert, populated by the descendants of the ancients. There's another house with a secret room behind the fireplace. The pot here has a sunset scone, or pre-section staff, which I give to Alan, and 2 chests that contain a phoenix down and a Kempo gi. I also give it to Alan. I then search around the grass patches, finding a Lamia scale, capable of confusing enemies, a great bow, Bacchus's wine, it is capable of boosting attacks, and an ice staff, it can cast blizzard. I change Alvin to a white mage. Then I go to the west. Enemies found around the desert here include hornets, strong poisonous attackers, lynxes, high HP enemies, and parademons. These ones are capable of paralyzing with their attacks. After this western trek, I find the village of the ancients. Finding an inn and item shop, this one has an expanded inventory of potions, high potions, gold needles, maiden's kisses, echo herbs, mallets, eye drops, and antidotes. A kid challenges me to circumvent the continent on a chocobo. The chocobo live in a forest east of here. This village has a revival spring as well. An old man tells me about the light and darkness. They each choose 4 mortals to serve as their champions. The 4 warriors of darkness have once saved the world from a flood of light, and now the light has chosen 4 warriors of its own. I find a magic shop that sells Sight, the spell that shows the world map, Fire, Blizzara, Pandara, Kyora, as well as Blindna, the blind removal spell, and Teleport. This spell teleports the party out of dungeons. I buy a Sight and teleport for Alvin. An old man reveals that this continent is floating in the sky. The Tower of Owen is responsible for keeping it as such. The armor shop hill sells shell armor, flame mail, headbands, Kempo gi, and mage robes, while the weapon shop sells serpent swords, white slayers, flame staves, ice staves, killer bows, light arrows, fire arrows, and ice arrows. There's a tree here that hides a serpent sword. I then go east to the chocobo forest and ride a chocobo around the continent. The kid gives me gnomish bread as a prize. I go north, finding the living woods. The fairies tell of the wizard Hein of Castle Argus. He cursed the elder tree. It now wanders aimlessly through the desert. Hein's ability, Barrier Shift, can change his weakness. I take the ship to Castle Argus. New enemies found around the castle include flyers, weak to air, they have a sleep-inducing glare, gorgons, pretty strong enemies, knockers, somewhat weaker than other nearby enemies, and lizardmen, enemies comparable with gorgons. I enter the castle, climbing up multiple stairs, finding an empty table. I go down a secret room. There are 2 chests here that include a bomb fragment and an Antarctic wind. Then I go east through a secret corridor leading to a chest containing a tranquilizer. I find absolutely nobody, so I just leave the castle. I go west, finding a cave entrance. Enemies found north of here include slimes, pretty bulky enemies, and tarantulas, strong attacking enemies. While closer to the lake, the enemies can include barometzes, paralyzing attackers with bad breath, cuffgulls, decently strong enemies, and redcaps. These ones have a sleep-inducing glare. I enter Golgan Gulch. The Golgans are a blind people capable of seeing into the future. There are 4 crystals in this world. They have the power of wind, fire, water, and earth. A Golgan senses the power of fire in the island of the dwarves. Another Golgan reveals that when a tower spews flame, the man who will change destiny will awake. I then go downstairs. The Golgan there gives me the Toad spell. It is necessary to enter the Tower of Owen. The spell itself inflicts and removes Toad. It's a status effect similar to Mini, but it also blocks spell usage. I then go through secret corridors, finding a mage robe that I give to Alvin, as well as the Ice Rod and Flame Rod. These weapons were meant to boost spells of their respective elements. I then give the Toad spell to Alvin. I sail north of Argus, finding the Tower of Owen. New enemies found at the tower include T mages, casters of Blizzara and Silence, Fardarigs, they can cast Blizzara, Poison, Blind and Toad, Bugmen, these ones cast Poison, Blind, Fire, Blizzard and Sleep. Higher up, I can also find Ogiskis, very strong attackers, and Bloodbats, another strong attacker. In this tower I find many Toads. I go around the walls to reach the center. To go any further, I must turn my party into Toads. I continue along, climbing up to the 2nd floor, going south, opening a chest that contains a Maiden's Kiss. I use it immediately to clear Alvin's Toad status, reverting the other party members with Alvin's own spell. I then go west and north, climbing up to the 3rd floor, going south, climbing up to the 4th floor. I go south and east, opening a chest that contains a Tirfing, a strong red mage weapon. I then go west, climbing up to the 5th floor. On this floor, I must pull chains to reveal the way forward, finding a chest that has a Maiden's Kiss. Then, I climb to the 6th floor. I go counterclockwise along the room, climbing up to the 7th floor, going east to open chests that contain a bomb fragment and echo herbs. I then go west and north, climbing up to the 8th floor, going north and east, finding a chest that has echo herbs. I then go southwest, climbing up to the 9th floor. Here, I go around the south wall, opening a chest that contains a Salamence sword. It is fire elemental and can cast fire as well. I give it to Alex. I then go northwest, opening a chest that has the flame mail. This armor resists ice but creates a fire weakness. I give it to Alex as well. I then go south and east, finding a chest that has a Zeus's Wrath, as well as stairs to the 10th floor, the Apex, finding the Medusa. She can petrify with either her attacks or the break spell, but requires multiple successes to be able to do so. I commit to a full assault. Alan drinks the Bacchus's wine to boost his power as well. After a sustained defense, she goes down. As I approach the raging flame, Desch remembers his task as one of the ancients. He must go inside the machine to stabilize the reactor, otherwise the floating continent will crash into the ground. He tells the party to go to the island of dwarves, then dives in, warping the party out of the tower. The whirlpool at the North Sea has been calmed, allowing me to sail further. I do so east then south, finding the village of Geishel. This village has a magic shop that sells Toad, Mini, Break, the petrification spell, Blizzaga, the strongest ice magic, Shade, the paralysis spell, Libra, the HP spying spell, Confuse and Silence, status inflicting spells. There's also an inn and item shop that sells Geishel greens. There's a revival spring, and yet another item shop that sells magic keys. There's a secret corridor here that allows me to open the chest containing a shuriken, a very strong weapon. I can't equip it yet though. An old man says that chocobos love Geishel greens. Placing a Geishel green in a tree at the middle of the woods will summon the fat chocobo. The pots here contain 2 Geishel greens. The grass at the southeast hides a Geishel green and 2 magic keys. I sail towards the northwest, finding the Dwarven Hollow. There are supposed to be 2 horns of ice here, but one was stolen by the thief Gutsco, who escaped into an underground lake. This cave has an inn, an item shop, a weapon shop that sells serpent swords, salamence swords, white slayers, tirfings, tonfas, free section staffs, and light staffs. These ones can cast thunder. I buy a light staff for Alvin. The armor shop sells ice armor, ice helms, ice shields, campogi, and mage robes. The ice pieces of armor grant resistance to fire and a weakness to ice. I buy a mage robe for Alice. I climb downstairs, finding an underground lake. I can only dive into it if I turn my party into toads. After diving, I reach a deeper level of the cave. New enemies found here include bombs, enemies capable of self-destructing, manticores, strong attackers that can cast Blizzard, Merman, another Blizzard spellcaster, ruinous waves, spewers of bad breath, sea devils, they don't have anything special, and stalagmites. They have a petrifying stat ability, also capable of petrifying with their attacks. I go south and east, finding a chest that contains a gold needle and a hidden path that leads to stairs to the 2nd floor. I go along this room in a clockwise fashion, finding chests that contain 2 Zeus's Wrath and 2 gold needles, and then stairs to the 3rd floor. I go west, finding a chest containing 300 gil, then continue along the narrow path, finding another chest with 300 gil. At the end, I find the thief Gutsco, a strong boss that can cast fire as well. This is another simple fight. especially since I have Alex dual wield as well. He goes down easily. I thus retrieve the Horn of Ice. I teleport out, then go back inside to return it. I do have this strange line following me though. As I return the horn though, Gutsco reveals himself. He has hidden himself in my shadow the whole time, and steals both horns. He means to use them to open the path to the fire crystal. I buy a nice helm for Alex, then set out. I sail around the island, entering another cave, the Molten Cave. Enemies here include Adamantoises, strong enemies that are weak to ice, balloons, a self-destructing enemy, Crocotas, very similar to Adamantoises, also weak to ice, Myrmicolians, an enemy that can petrify with its attacks, and red marshmallows, bulky enemies weak to fire. I go west, finding a chest that contains Antarctic wind, then go south and east through non-damaging lava, opening a chest that has another Antarctic wind. Then I go west and south, finding stairs to the second floor. I go all the way south, finding a chest that has a freezing blade, it's ice elemental and is capable of casting blizzard. I give it to Alex. Then I go north, then southwest, finding a chest containing a high potion. Then I go north, finding another chest holding a high potion, as well as stairs to the third floor. Here I go west, finding a chest that contains a potion, then go north, finding a chest that has a high potion. I interact with a nearby rock, finding a hidden room that leads to the crystal chamber. Gutsco awaits here, transforming into the Salamander, a strong boss with a flame attack that hits the whole party. He absorbs fire, but is weak to ice. Alvin is on cure duty for the whole fight, while Alice spams Blizzara, and Alex and Alan just attack. It's a tough fight, but he goes down anyway. I convene with the crystal, receiving its light, and gaining access to new jobs. The Knight is pretty much a straight upgrade of the Warrior, being another frontliner that wields swords and heavy armor, though with some exclusive additions. The Knight also has a passive ability that draws attacks aimed at low HP party members towards him. The Ranger is a backliner that fights with bows. They can exploit enemy elemental weaknesses with the appropriate arrows, and have some white magic access, although their MP is rather low. Scholars are unusual dual-wielding frontliners that attack with elemental books, though their armor choices are a bit weak. They can peep enemy HP and study enemy weaknesses, somewhat useful for new players and thieves. Their preferred weapon is the knife, of which there aren't many strong options yet. They have a utility focus. Their flee ability is an improved run with guaranteed success. They can steal items from their enemies, and can open locked doors without having to use magic keys. Their armor choices are somewhat weak. I return to the Hollow, but before I can move much further, a man from Tokul arrives. It has been attacked once again. He also says that Hein can change his weakness. Only a scholar can overcome this challenge. A dwarf gives me a magic key as thanks for the retrieval of the horns. Another offers the dwarves' hoard to the warriors. I make some changes among my party. Alex becomes a knight, Alan a scholar, and Alice a ranger. I then go downstairs to the hoard. It contains an otter shroom, it has a teleport effect, an elixir, gauntlets that I give to Alex, a killer bow that I give to Alice, echo herbs, a gold needle, a scholar robe, a fire elemental book of fire, a scholar hat, and an ice elemental book of ice. I give all of this equipment to Alan. There's also a knight's armor that I give to Alex. It has immunity to petrification and sleep, a lightning elemental book of light, 2 phoenix downs, a heroic shield that has immunity to petrification and sleep, this one goes to Alex, and finally a Geishel Green. This has been good progress. I climbed the Tower of Owen, defeating the Medusa there to stop the floating continent from crashing towards the ground. Then visited the Dwarven Hollow, which was missing a Horn of Ice, stolen by the thief Gutsco. I found him in an underground lake, defeating him and recovering the horn. Although this was a ruse, Gutsco took this opportunity to steal both Horns of Ice, using them to open the way to the Fire Crystal. I braved through the Molten Cave, finding Gutsco by the Fire Crystal, transformed into the Salamander. After defeating him again, I received the light of the Fire Crystal. After recovering both horns, I get news that the town of Tokul has been attacked by the wizard Hein, who has been causing troubles around the southwest. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, as I handle Hein the Wizard.